Mr. Upton.
Hello, John Archer. It's Chris Upton here.
Hello.
Are you hallucinating? Are you feeling well after the virus you've had?
No, I'm feeling well.
I just read a comment on YouTube that you put up on
Brilliant, isn't it?
to Earthbound Pheasant.
I'm feeling much better, thank you.
How you feeling? I was thinking you were hallucinating because I just read a highlighted comment by John Archer on.
Well, because I've sort of been laid up for a couple of 3 weeks. I'm just sort of going through all the posts and having a look, see what I can see.
Yeah.
And I came across that one.
Are you on my Patreon, John?
I'm not. No.
You tight bastard.
I know.
So you know, we were talking the other day. I don't know whether you were still on the drugs, but you were talking about trialing. I had a dream about it. I had a dream.
Oh, right, okay.
I had a dream about it. Just explain so people will understand what you were talking about. You said about you were on the shoot, and you spoke to a bloke who was a trialer. Just explain that to me. What you said to him.
Oh, this is. Well, which one? Because I've spoken to a couple of 3 people there.
Well, you said that you don't want to. You're not going there to win. Come on.
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Personally, yeah. No, all I want to do is get a dog through a trial. Because in my mind, if I can get a dog from the start of a trial to the finish of a trial without being asked to leave, the dog is then trained. It might not be a good trialing dog, but the dog is then, that's a benchmark of the dog being fully trained.
Is it?
That's in my mind, yeah.
Well, hang on, because it was a good question a good thing you said. But guess what? You could finish the trial, but it doesn't mean it's a good dog.
No, I didn't say that. But if you start a trial,
yeah,
from the beginning, and you get through the trial,
yeah,
obviously you've had a flush. It's dropped to flush. It's then steady to shot. It's gone out. It's picked it. Come back. The judges assess that it's not, a hard mouth. Then, in my mind, that dog is fully trained.
Yeah, but you might not get a flush.
Right, okay.
You might not. You might not get a bird shot for your dog.
Well, how do they judge the trial then?
Well, you've got to. There's a lot of luck involved as well, John. But if your dog was hunting too far out, the judge wouldn't put you out for it. The judge might mark you down for it, but you wouldn't know how good your dog is unless you went over to the judge and said, well, what marks did I get? And some people think that's acceptable, and other people think that's rude if you do that. But you don't learn unless you ask. But if you got an award in the trial, then that should prove that your dog is of a good standard, because the judges have said, in their opinion, it's worth an award. But plenty of dogs finish a trial that don't get any awards.
Yeah, but would you say the dogs that start, that run from start to finish, would you say that dog is then fully trained?
No, not really.
Okay.
What is fully trained? Is a dog ever fully trained?
I think it is, and then after that it's polished, isn't it?
No, because if you're running in a novice trial, you're going to get leniency from a judge compared to running in an open trial. If a novice dog wins a novice trial, in the judge's opinion, it's good enough in their eyes to go up to open standard. That means it's of a higher standard. It's of a well-trained standard. But in a novice stake, they're not going to put you out for every little thing you do wrong. So I understand what you're trying to say, but what I'm saying is it's not quite as simple as that, because you said, I'm not worried about winning. I want to go there and finish on the day, and then I know I've got a fully trained dog.
Yes.
That's not quite the case. What did the trialing bloke say to you, John, on your shoot?
He said I was an idiot.
Good. Tell that story.
Well, basically, I mean, when I'm beating, I like to talk to people that. I mean, he was a field trialer a while ago, but he was running 2 dogs that day. He made both dogs up to field trial champions, but they were 8 or 9 years old. So he'd sort of backed away from the trialing world for similar reasons to yourself.
Yeah.
Which obviously people are aware of, so we don't need to go into that.
Did he know me? Did you know me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Because the first thing I said, because he said that, you know, about the dog, he said, lovely looking bitch. He said, just needs a bit of work on control towards the end. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
She's pulling, but we spoke about this. And he said that, I said, well, I've been going down to see Chris Upton down in Cornwall. He said, oh, fucking good dog, man. Real good dog, man. Do you know what I mean? And he said, you know, he'll put you right. But I said, all I want to do is get my dog through a trial. And he said, no. And he said, you enter a trial to win it. Your dog's not good enough to win it. It shouldn't be in the trial. But that's just different competitiveness, isn't it? It's just different levels of how competitive you are. But this guy, as you did, would have lived and breathed dog training and trialing.
Yeah.
For whatever reason he would have done that, and whatever reason you did that, you know, I don't actually know.
I can relate to what he's saying more than what you're saying, but I understand what you're saying, but I disagree because many a dog will finish a trial, not get nowhere, and does that teach you much? No, it doesn't. Not unless you go over and have a word with the judge and say, look, not being funny, but, you know, I didn't get anywhere. I'm not moaning about it. What did you see about my dog that I could improve? But just because the judge on the day didn't like your dog, it doesn't mean it's not a good dog. You might have a dog. You might have a dog that's taking in too much ground, in his opinion, because he likes a windscreen wiper action dog. You may have a dog that's too tight and not opening up and not taking in enough ground. I've been on trials before where we've had Welsh judges, and the Welsh judges said, hang on, if you don't let the dog hunt, you're not going to find anything, and you're not going to get nothing from me because I want to see a dog hunting. And then you go on another trial, and the guy says, hang on, mate, get your dog back, it's pulling you all over the place. No, it's not. Yeah. So if we've got what we call a game finder that opens up, but it turns on the whistle when told, it finds game, it puts it up in the air, it gets shot because it's not too far out. The idea is your dog is supposed to impress the judge on the day, but there is eliminating faults in the guidelines of the rules. The judge can put you out for eliminating faults, but he's not going to put you out for the dog pulling you or not listening on the whistle very much. He's just not going to put you in the award. So you wouldn't know whether you've got a good trained dog or not got a good trained dog. All you've done is finished a trial. If your dog's got hard mouth or he makes a noise or he chases a bird, you know, they're eliminating faults. But the idea is you want to step up a little bit higher than that. You want to say, all I want to do is get an award in a trial. And if I can get an award, that proves that the dog is of a reasonable standard. Even a C of M proves that on the day, the judges thought your dog was a nice dog.
Yeah.
A C of M doesn't mean anything else, really, because guess what? A C of M, some days, they give them out like Smarties to anybody who finishes a trial. And other days, you've got to really earn it, and you've had a right bastard bit of luck. You know, a bird's been shot, and it's come down over a wall or something like that, and you've had to be moved forward, or, you know, and then it's disappeared and you've gone looking for it, but the judge thought, oh, he made a good enough effort, I'm not going to put him out, but we didn't find the bird. You're going to get knocked for it. A perfect run in a trial, John, is a nice hunting pattern. You're not missing any ground. Up gets a bird, they shoot it, you go, get out, the dog goes straight to it, straight back without any handling. If you can do that twice under both judges, guess what? You're going to be bang in there for a chance of winning that trial, because not everybody's going to get that situation. Because what did I just say? Twice under both judges. Some people will have a 30-minute run, John, and no game in front of them. So guess what happens? That doesn't really test the dog. It shows the hunting ability of the dog. But if you've got a dry patch where there's no game or it's running through, especially if you go trialing in the end of January, the birds are wise and they're running through these woods on these shoots, and you don't get into them like you would early in the season. But early in the season, if you've got a young dog, it can be too much because there'll be birds everywhere. So in each trial is different and each situation is different. And it's impossible to say, because you may be in a situation that you're in a pen, you've got hundreds of birds in that pen, and no one else had that temptation that your dog had. So other people may have been in cover crop and there was no birds in the cover crop because they were running through to the Sulin where they're putting the stops. So you didn't get as far as the Sulin because the judge said, I'm sorry, but you give you enough chance to find a bird. If your dog is walking on you and it's not really hunting and the birds are moving forward, guess what? You're not going to get a bird in the air. But if you've got a dog with some drive and some desire, and you can trust that dog to work a backwind, you can push the dog out, bring the birds back to you over the guns, shoot them, and the guns go, okay, now that's a good dog. And you've stood still, the judge can't put you out, because if you've moved forward and your dog's moved forward and a bird gets up behind you, the judge can say, I'm sorry, but you missed that ground. That bird's been missed. Guess what? On some occasions, the birds run across from the other side of the cover crop into that cover crop to try and get away from the other dog, and the judge has falsely put you out for missing game when technically your dog's covered that area. Or the judge may be watching it and go, no, it's missing big pockets, it's running around in circles. There's so many things in trialing, John, that people haven't got a clue until you've been in it for a long, long time. I love what that bloke said. I love what that bloke said to you, because he gave you some brilliant advice, bluntly, but he was right. But I love the passion, because I read what you said to, I think, Earthbound Pheasant. He comes on and asks questions, and I like the fact, and I read it, and that made me chuckle. I thought, I'm glad John's getting better.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what I should have done, I think, with respect to that, I mean, I don't mean any disrespect.
No.
It's this thing that his opinion is not my opinion, and I was just trying to tell him, from my point of view, it was the answer to the question: why do people want a trial? Do they want it for the money, obviously, from the breeding and this, that, and the other, for status rights on a kennel name or anything? None of this is applicable to me. I don't want money from the trial world in terms of breeding dogs and this, that, and the other. All I want is the competition. And I always, throughout my life, I've been involved in various sports, and I always set the bar quite high.
Hang on, John. Hang on. What sports? Talk to Christopher.
Oh, right. Well, I mean, badminton, table tennis, cricket.
Football, so did you play county badminton like me then?
No.
So you didn't reach that height?
No. But that doesn't mean to say that I didn't want to perform to the best of my ability.
So did you play rugby? Did you play rugby?
Yes.
Did you have trials for Notts County?
No.
I did.
No.
But I couldn't get any better. I reached a stage in everything with other sports that I could only get so far. But God, I was driven. I was obsessed with I was a bit like your mate, Fireman Sam, with his fishing.
Yeah. The thing is, it's different. It's different people, different personalities.
I bet you, John, and let me guess, sorry for jumping in, I bet you were a cricketer.
Oh, yeah.
And I bet you stood in silly mid-off.
I have fielded it silly mid-off. It has happened, but I normally was sort of in the covers.
Yeah.
That sort of area.
Yeah.
But I with cricket, for an example, I was a batsman, and at my peak was scoring hundreds of runs. It was through the local leagues. It was well known that if I got in, they weren't going to get me out. I was going to score and score big. But it got to a point where I couldn't do the practice. I couldn't do the pre-season runs and this, that, and the other, and get myself fit and get myself to the best of my ability. Not the best in the county or the best in my league, but the best that I could be. And I couldn't, it's the same with all sports, I couldn't play that sport knowing that I was previously I was better, and I could never get to that stage again. So sort of trialing, because I've come from a country sports background, I've always been shooting and this, not really been interested in training dogs to a good standard. I sort of fell into it from that point of view, thinking, well, I can do this. I'm not going to be Ian Openshaw. I'm not going to be Will Clooney. I'm not going to be Chris Upton. But I can be the best that I can be with what I've got, and I will know that. And I'll be disappointed if I'm not. But if I do the best that I can do, and my dog does the best that she can do, and we don't win a trial, I won't be too disappointed by it.
Won't you? That's good then, isn't it? That's great, isn't it? If you've got that attitude, that's good, isn't it?
as long as but if I go into a trial, let's just, for instance, the dog's hunted up well, hunted to the cover, flushed the bird, and I've moved, and the dog has reacted on my movement, then I would be disappointed. I would be mortified because I made a mistake. It was me. It was my fault when I knew better. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
But if I stand still and the dog runs in, I'll still be mortified because the dog shouldn't have been there in the first place. She should have been trained, and it's my fault. I mean, it's not going to happen like that on every trial, obviously.
Do you know what? I think trialing is a great leveler for people, because a lot of people think, oh, trialing's easy. All you have to do is train the dog on the shoot, or train the dog like Chris Upton says, and then you'll have a good dog. You know on your shoot whether your dog does you on the shoot. If it does you on the shoot, it's going to do you on a trial, and there's and you're going to be able to do nothing about it. And then what happens? What happens then, John?
Well, they just tap you on the shoulder, say thank you very much.
The dog becomes what we call trial wise, and the dog realizes you can't do nothing about this. And guess what? Then you're wasting your time even taking it trialing, because you've got to get it right before you go there. Not go there thinking, I hope I can finish the day. If that's the attitude you've got, and I love the fact we're talking about this, I think it's great, because wouldn't it be wonderful if life was like that? But you've got to train to a higher standard than you can imagine to want to get that achievement. But if you think, oh, because she listens to me on a shoot, she'll listen to me on a trial, what's going to happen is you're going to stand in that queue. You may be first one in, so you may be laughing, but then you've got to wait for about an hour and a half, 2 hours, could be 3 hours before you get another run. And you've got to walk around, and that dog's going to hear shots and dogs going for retrieves and all this. And so can your dog switch off on the lead? Or is it going to be wound up and burn itself out on the lead because it can't switch off? All these things are so important in the trialing world that the gun dog world don't realise. Where I think Earthbound Pheasant was saying, what is a good trial dog? It's just a pumped up freaking glorified this and that. I disagree. A good quality trial dog should be able to go in the shooting field and in the beating line and go clicking up and shoot over it regular and win tests and win trials. If you've trained it right. But if you've not, you're going to come unstuck.
I mean, the point that he raised, which really sort of grabbed my attention, was, apart from saying that trial dogs are useless, straight away I'm thinking, well, I'm sure he's wrong. I'm positive he's wrong. Is the fact that trial dogs have no stamina. And he's not actually thinking, and I hear this a lot on various shoots, where you've got people that have got dogs and all they're doing is walking to heel, basically, and they're not allowed to go out and hunt, because obviously they'll go out and hunt and they'll fuck off to the end of the drive and bust the driver. But what in terms of stamina, I'll take my dog on a normal day beating, and for the first drive, first 30 minutes, she is absolutely lightning fast, really, really pacey. But later on, in the next drive, she slows down, and the next drive, she slows down. That doesn't mean she's got no stamina. That just means she realises she's going to do some more work, so she's got to back off, and she pace herself.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly as Sue in the bedroom. As you get older, John, it takes longer, doesn't it, mate? And so they've got to build stamina.
Well, this is it.
As youngsters, it's like all over within 2 minutes, isn't it? It's like, well, 3 minutes with me. But, at the end of the day, I know exactly what you're saying. I agree with you there, 100%. I mean, Earthbound loves to put in some controversial comments to see what people say. He's I wouldn't say attention seeking. He's a nice enough bloke. But I sometimes think he throws in some comments to see if he can sort of wind people up a little bit.
Yeah, I don't think it didn't wind me up.
No, he's not rude. He's not rude.
No, but having said that, I've been on a shoot with my little dog. And before I don't know the beaters. I don't mind going on to shoots where I don't know anybody. I get an invite by a keeper or something like that. And they've not seen me dog work. They haven't seen me work, and they all say the same thing.
What do they say, John? What do they say?
Well, we don't want to trial her. They're crazy. And I said, well, yes, they are. They're trained. They're bred and trained to be right on the edge, so you get the maximum bang out of your little dog with the maximum amount of control. I mean, I don't know, but now with the experience I've got, which is not a lot, I reckon I could train a dog a piece of cake to work in the beating line.
Hang on, John. Hang on. How many dogs you had? Working dogs in the field, not trialing dogs. Working dogs in the field. How many have you had?
3 or 4.
3 or 4. And when you come to me, not being funny, and I'm being totally honest, you were useless, John.
I know.
And I ain't being rude. So let's just say your first dog, you love him for pigeon shooting. He is what he is. Then you got the bitch, and you've done a good job with the bitch. Why have you done a good job with the bitch and not the other dogs before?
Right. Okay. This is because I got to the point where I realised I wanted more from working dogs, and I realised that. This is a bit harsh, but you can read as many books as you like.
Yeah.
For me, or you can watch as many videos as you like.
Yeah.
But straight away, from the first moment that we went out in the field with Jake as a demonstration, you know, how you assess the dog and the handler.
Yeah.
From that moment, I realised there was more to dog training than just getting the dog to sit and walk to heel.
That's that first lesson you had with me, you mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, I sort of knew it, but I didn't know the finer points of. See, the thing is, I'm willing to bet that 99% of the people that you see, not that watch the videos, but that you see, are people that have got a problem with their dog.
Right.
Initially.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're probably right. Yeah.
They come to you and they're saying, look, my dog's lovely, my dog's perfect, hunts well, drops a shot, blah, 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 this sort of, but it runs in.
Yeah.
Right. Now, there's a standard practice on how to get your dog not to run in. But it's always because you've missed something before. Some little fine point you've missed before. The point about the dog sitting there and you move. And you've only got to make the slightest little move and bang, the dog's run in. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's that, it takes a professional to say, what the fuck are you doing? Why are you hopping around like a fucking frog on a foot pump? That's why your dog's running in.
But you'd already been to professionals before you came to me.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't want to mention any names.
No, don't mention names. Don't mention names.
But I mean,
But tell me why you didn't achieve that with them.
Well,
no names.
My initial contact was with a local gun dog trainer of very high note in the country. Very, very high note in the country at that particular point.
Yeah.
And I went there and he sort of gave me some exercises to do, sit the dog up, back away, you know, blah, blah, blah. One of the first things he told me, this is going back to the point of the snowflakes and the hate people that you're talking about in a lot of your videos that I've seen. He told me how to discipline the dog. Exactly what to do at what point.
Okay.
That was amongst the first things he told me, and it wasn't a scruff of the neck job. It was exactly what you put on your videos. Exactly, not a little bit like. It was exactly the same. His comment to me towards the end of the session is that's what you have to do, but don't ever let anybody see you doing it.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? So that's sort of. You were, on the other hand, saying, no, this is how we train dogs. And you showed people, and they didn't like it. But anyway, I went to, and we did a sort of session of this, that, and the other. And he said, I said, when do you want to see me again? And he said, when your dog will sit up and you can back away 200 yards and go back to him and he doesn't move. Which I did. It wasn't 200 yards, but... I got a long distance back from, so I rung him up and he said, oh no, I'm far too busy to see you now. It'll be, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks or something like that. And I thought, well, you know, I'm not really interested in that. I'm not interested in going pay money and then, do you know what I mean? I want it a little bit more personal than that, which I found straight away with you. I mean, a lot of people have commented on, I mean, the videos are gone now, commented on a video about how you were you were. It appeared that you were being a bit harsh with me.
Right.
And I'm thinking, hang on. They don't know me. They don't know you. They only see what's on your videos, and they were using that as an attack that you were being harsh on a client. But had they asked me, I would have said the guy is super passionate about what he does. And when he asks me to do something, if I don't do it, he quite rightly says, wait a minute, you're being an idiot. Do it properly. But what they don't see is what happens the rest of the day when we're sat in the booth having a lovely meal or wherever, or we sat there watching videos and, you know, as being part of the family. And that's what
Just a second, John. So do you think I would have called John an idiot? Do you think I would have called a customer an idiot? Don't be an idiot. Where the hell did he get this from? I might have said, what the fuck are you doing?
But well, that's it. I was being polite. I believe dickhead was one of the words. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, there you go.
But having said that, I took that. There are times when we have a laugh.
Yeah.
And we chat and this, and there are times when things are serious.
Of course it is. You know, yeah.
When you want me to do something, you can see that what I'm doing is affecting what the dog's doing.
Yeah.
You don't say it quietly. You get confrontational, up in my face, and say, "This is why your dog is doing this. Now, if you don't do this, your dog won't do it." Mm-hmm. And to be honest with you, there are times when I thought I've driven back from Cornwall and thought, "What a fucking pain in the ass he was." But then I go back.
Who, me or the dog?
You. But then I go back to the videos.
Yeah.
And if somebody that was unconnected to that particular video watched the video, like the look of the video, watched the video, they would probably miss the important parts of that because they're so small and so fine.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
You're right. Yeah.
They wouldn't actually get it. Whereas at the time, I was getting a bollock. And at the time, I probably didn't understand it. But then I come back and I look at the videos and I think, shit, I've been a bit harsh with him there. Driving all that, cursing him for 5 hours all the way back to Shropshire. I've been a bit harsh. Because look, there it is on the fucking video. Me being a dickhead. Do you know what I mean?
I told you.
Especially when you've been told a dozen times.
That's the sort of good things and bad things about the video. For me, I like to have that face-to-face confrontation.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? If I was doing something and I'm right and I know I'm right, then I would tell you.
So tell me this, John. This is important. So you've already said that I'm a good dog trainer. I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Am I a good people person as well, though?
Do you know what? You've asked me this so many times before, and it's really difficult to answer. I don't think that you would make an all-round teacher, a classroom. Like if you had a bunch of students, if you had 10 people with 10 gun dogs and you were running a gun dog class, I don't think that you would get your message across efficiently.
John, do you know before we started this, sorry to interrupt, but before we started this conversation, I offered you 200 quid to boost me up and make me look fucking good. You can fuck off now because you're not getting that fucking 200 quid now.
No.
Carry on.
What I have noticed with myself is that initially, and it didn't take long for you to read where you could put pressure on me and where you couldn't put pressure on me. I mean, you probably realised that you couldn't put pressure on me about how good my dog is. I bite straight away. But you can put loads and loads of pressure on me personally. And it has the effect of me sort of sitting up and taking note. Now, that's quite good teaching, that is. I don't see you with all your clients, but if you can pick your client...
how many clients have you seen me with, John?
Probably, I don't know, half a dozen or so.
And those clients, did I treat them different than I treated you?
Yes.
There you go then. There you go. There's the answer that I want, because I treat people differently, the same as dogs.
Yes.
And there's you telling me that I wouldn't make a good bloody teacher.
No, I didn't say that. I said I don't think in a group situation.
You haven't seen me in a group situation.
I haven't, no, but what I know of you, I don't think that you could. It's really difficult to be able to get a passionate message across.
Listen. I'm a chameleon. I can change my colour when I need to.
Yeah, but if I was there in a group situation and you were bollocking me and you were kissing the ass of some pink-coated lady, I'd be thinking, wait a minute, that's not fucking right. She's worse than I am.
Hang on, John. Hang on. I've done training seminars and teaching young guns for BASC, right? So all the young kids, would I beast them like I beast you? Would I talk to them like I talk to you? No. Would I use language to them like I use to you? No.
No, definitely not.
Because I work people out. And same as I read dogs. I work the dog out and know what level I can go to. The real skill as a teacher is to vary it for each person, vary it for each dog.
That's exactly what I've just said.
I'm not trying to defend myself here. I'm just saying to you, as a learning curve for you, I love the fact what you said. I love the fact you come straight off your chair and you said, as a teacher in general, as in a group of people, I don't think you'd make... Hang on, you haven't seen me. You haven't seen me, and I can tell you, if you ask anybody who went to Alan Chadwick's training seminar, they were all of mixed different standards. They thoroughly enjoyed themselves. Would I belittle you in front of a group of people? No frigging way. Why? Because I wouldn't want that, so I wouldn't do it to you.
No.
One-to-one is different. If I feel I can put pressure on you and make you go home a little bit frustrated, but make you determined to push yourself and prove that you can do it, then I'm motivating you no different than a good football manager.
I mean, I can give you an example.
Go for it.
There was three of us. Dennis.
Yeah.
I can't remember the girl's name. She's from Bristol. I can't remember what her name. She's got a little cocker.
Yeah.
And me.
Yeah.
And we went to Tony's Rabbit Pen. To be fair, all the way from Callington to Tony's Rabbit Pen, which is about, I don't know, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, something like that.
Yeah.
You were saying, we need to get in there, blah, 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 and do what we've got to do. Well, unbeknown to me, I got waylaid by Tony as soon as we went through the gate, and it was nothing to do with gun times. It was about his car, I think it was.
But I warned you.
Yeah, and then he said, "Right, John, it's your turn." Where the fuck is he?
Yeah.
Because and I come in, but you'd explained something to I can't remember what her name was, Chris, but you'd explained something to her and Dennis about behaviour in the rabbit pen. If your dog shits, there's a scoop there, pick it up, chuck it in. All this I missed.
Yeah.
So when it come for my turn to have a run, you're straight on me. Hey, wait a minute, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? And it wasn't my fault. It was Tony fucking waylaid me.
It was your fault. Because you should have said, listen, Tone, not being funny, I'm up here to learn. I don't want to talk about cars at the moment and electrics. No. And I'd like to learn from Chris. And I thought, well, hang on, John, you're missing out here. And I then pointed out that perhaps you need to listen to the teacher in the pen rather than listening to Tony.
This is it. But I'm too nice a person for that. If somebody asked me a question, I do my best to answer it. Do you know what I mean?
Well, that's what used to happen when I used to play cricket. They used to say, Upton, you go and stand silly mid-off. I said, fuck off, I'm bowling.
Oh, dear. I quite like those short positions, actually. It's not...
I find it quite intimidating with someone striking out with a bat and don't know what they're doing neither.
To be honest with you, it's having the trust in the bowler.
Yeah, without fail.
If your bowler's spraying it about all over the place, I ain't going to stand close to the fucking bat because I'm going to get hit with the bat or the ball.
Yeah, exactly.
So when the bowler says to me, John, just drop into one of the short positions.
Yeah.
The usual response is, fuck off. When you can bowl straight.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
I'll come stand there. But there were lads in the team that were absolute idiots and they just loved that position.
Yeah.
And they would go and field in that position irrespective of whether they were going to get hit or not.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
but you know what cricket does to me? I'd rather go and lay concrete.
I know. We've heard this before.
Let's get back to dog training.
It's such a slow game, and I'm thinking, well, if you're standing there and you've got a cricket ball 5 3/4 ounces of leather coming to you at 80 miles an hour, and you've got less than 0.1 of a second to react, then tell me that that's not fast.
See this. Sue, I love batting. I love bowling. I love being put under pressure, but I'm not standing naked, silly me off, taking frigging hits from idiots who can't play cricket, right?
Who can't do it. Yeah.
Who can't do it.
But yeah, but I mean, back to
Dog trading, thank God.
yeah, I can't remember what his name was now. The comments that I made, you hear that a lot from the beating line. You don't want to trial, blah, 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 this, that and the other. And yet when you speak to people that have been involved in the trial world, they've got nothing to gain. No, they're not in the trial world anymore. They're just going out on a Thursday afternoon, on a Thursday or a Saturday or whatever day it is, to work their dogs.
Mm.
But I tell you what, even though those dogs were older, you could see that they were trained. You could see that there was a massive difference between, simply because he said nothing.
Mm.
He said nothing to me. He just he'd click his finger and both dogs would go off working, and he would say nothing. There'd be no get here or
because it's simplicity. Simplicity. Less is more. He's taught the dogs what he wants them to do. They love doing what they're doing, and they're working for him, not for themselves. That's the most important thing. Yeah.
That's it. And then on the other hand, you get somebody that puts the dog on a lead and walks the dog through the drive on a lead, or walks the dog to heel and never lets the dog, go in front of them and hunt. They'll hunt the dog. They'll hunt the dog behind them on ground that they've just walked over.
Yeah.
They'll let the dog go back and have a little sniff and a bit of a poke in. Well, that's not, to me, that's not a trained gun dog.
No.
It isn't a trained gun dog. But if I was to ask that, if I was stood in the same room as the guy and said, "What do you want from your dog?" I mean, as you probably realise, the last comment, which part of what you want from your dog is not a field trial dog? Do you know what I mean? It hunts its ground, it flushes the bird, it stops to flush, it's steady to shot, it's steady to fall in game, it goes out, retrieves the bird, brings the bird back to hand. It's not hard mouth. Which part of that is not a field trial dog?
Do you know what, John? Do you know what the funniest thing is? When I first started trialing, I mean, I think as an experienced person who's been there, done that as well as the shooting field, I started off in the beating line with spaniels, right? Yeah. But I trained them to a good standard, right? A good standard. And I watched trial people who protected their dogs and they didn't do what I was doing. I was throwing them in the deep end. I wasn't interested in trialing at that point. I was only interested in working dogs. I did that for about 2 years before I even decided to trial, right? Or test and trial. Yeah. When I got into the trial line for the first time, and there were people standing at the back, and I could actually see them perspiring, sweating, pouring off them, and I think, hang on, why are you freaking sweating like a rapist? And they got a dog that can't switch off, and they got a dog that's standing right way back, and I go, why are you standing all the way back here? Because the dog gets too wound up, mate. The dog gets too wound up, and I'm looking at them, and there's sweat pouring off them, and I think, why are you doing this if you're freaking into pieces? Thinking about it, what are you doing something like this if you're not enjoying it? And then they'd come in the line, the dog would last 2 minutes and get put out, and then they're back at the line going, freaking hell, the freaking dog did me. And I think, bloody hell. So I get into the line, and you hunt for 25, 30 minutes. Your dog's going like stink because you've trained it on a shoot. You've not trained it like a trial person would train it. So it's got stamina, it's got drive, it knows what the birds are, it knows what stop means when you flush something. And you've shot over it, so it knows what the retrieving is. And it's easy. Trialing's so easy. I'm thinking, Jesus Christ, this is easy. Arrogance and confidence is a very fine line. And then what happens is you have a 30-minute run and you don't find a bird. And you think, well, this ain't hard. Normally on a shooting day, on a rough shooting day, I would have found a bird by now. And the judge says, sorry about that, mate. You had a brilliant hunting dog, but unfortunately we didn't find anything. So you run under the other judge and you have a find, or you get put into a situation where you're standing there in line and the people ready to go in with you are saying, oh my God, there's thousands of birds in front of us. My dog's not going to listen to me. And you can see them physically shaking because they've got to go in line. Guess what I want? I want thousands of birds in front of me. Guess why? Because you put them up in the air, they'll shoot them, your dog will be sent for them, and you can show your dog off to the best ability that it is. So
Yeah.
what I'm saying is, it's confidence of getting in that line, the confidence that you've done there and done it. Your experience now working on the shoots. How long have you been working in the beating line on the shoots with this dog you've got?
With Ella, 2 years.
2 years. How often does she go wrong?
Difficult to say. She does go wrong. She
Yeah.
does go wrong, but generally. But having said that, because she's so green, I tend to.
Green?
I
She's been in the shooting season for 2 years and she's green?
No. This is going back to the first year, not now. I mean,
All right.
This.
I'm on about now. This year.
Oh no. She's there.
She's there, spot on. She's sharp. She listens. She doesn't do you. Yeah, right. So go trialing. Honestly, go trialing and stop worrying about it. See what happens.
Right. Okay.
Just do it.
Obviously, it's not going to happen this year, but.
No, it's not going to happen this year. But what I'm saying is, next year, if you can't go trialing comfortably and not feel nervous, not feel sort of, oh my God, what am I putting myself into? I just want to finish the day. Go there with the attitude that I want to win, and it would be great to win. But guess what? If I get in the awards in my first trial, I'll be over the moon. And guess what?
Yeah.
I'll be over the moon for you. I won't be saying to you, for fuck's sake, why didn't you win it? I'll be saying to you, well done, John. But if you come back and say, I finished the day, but I didn't get nothing, I'm going to think, what's wrong with the dog?
Yeah. Or why didn't you?
But let's talk about let's talk about the other thing that you said to Earthbound Pheasant. You said you're not at the age now where you can do those sports like you used to do those sports, so you don't want to do those sports. Am I right?
That's it.
Yeah. So guess what? I'm at the age now. I don't want to stand in line for 3.5 hours for some judge who doesn't know what they're doing.
This is it.
To give me a shitty comment about dog training when the knowledge and wisdom that I've got and the age I am now, I don't want to be standing in the pissing rain for a judge to point at bramble that is 10 foot high. A dog can't get into it properly because it's that thick. And I say to the judge, which direction we going? And he points at the bramble and goes through there. At my age now, I do not want to be fighting myself through 10 foot of bramble.
Yeah.
But when I was a kid, I'd smash a way through that bramble just to show people my dog. I'm talking about kid, I'm talking about in my youth, when I was really mad for it. But to be honest with you, if it was all on white grass like the championship, guess what? I'd still be trialing. But guess what? Down here in sunny Cornwall, you are down dale, you're climbing hills, you're standing on steep banks, you're crawling through cover on your belly, and if you ain't got a dog that's listening to you, then it ain't much fun. And I've reached that stage now that I've been there, done that. I don't need to prove myself. So I haven't got the ambition to win like I did have. I haven't got the hunger to win like I did have. That's not saying I don't like trialing. That's not saying I don't rate trialing. Trialing was my shop window just to show the quality of my training. But I say to you, I'm over the moon that you want to have a go at trialing. But I just think that it's great to sit down and chat with someone who has come through the ranks. He was useless, and I'm not being rude. Not being rude. Your timing was out. You had no idea. You were full of confidence, but absolutely, your dogs were terrible. And I've watched you improve, and you've become a mate. And I think myself, well done. And you've definitely improved. Go for it, John. Go for it.
I'll take Tom's advice. Here's a question for you. Are you a better dog trainer now than when you were training dogs at the peak of your trialing career?
No, I was better at the peak of my trialing career.
Yeah.
Because I had the drive and desire to win. I've become slightly complacent now, John. I've got more knowledge. I've got more wisdom. But I haven't got that zest. That's what they call it, isn't it?
And this goes back to me saying that I don't compete in the sports that I did because I don't have the drive and the desire to push myself to be the best that I can be, or the best that I was.
Yeah.
And it's exactly the same. It's exactly the same. the thing is,
But it's not exactly the same, because when we look at people like Openshaw, he is still so obsessed with winning at any cost, right?
Yes, but
And he's my age, roughly, you know. So some people are driven by winning, and the money, and some people are driven in different ways. And I enjoy the teaching side, but I've always enjoyed the teaching side.
Yeah.
To me, teaching people and watching their little faces as their dogs improve, or handing their dog back to them, John, when they gave me a wild dog, then that gives me a bigger buzz than winning a trial, because I've won plenty of trials. I've been there and done it. But if you've not done it, you wouldn't know. You shouldn't be talking about it. There's a news thing that people are going that should judges only be judging what they've won. I believe that's really important, because if you've not won with a cocker, you don't know the standard.
Yeah, but there's another argument that comes up. That there are plenty of people, as you know, that in the trial world that have won, even the championship, that have never trained a dog in their life.
Yeah, we know that.
Do you know what I mean? But based on what you just said, those people then would be eligible to become judges.
Yeah, but they've still won. They've still won with the dog.
Yes, I know,
but how do people know who's trained a dog if people don't tell anybody? I've trained dogs for people who have won with them, but part of the deal was you don't tell anyone it's in your kennel. If you pay me when I was hungry, I'd train your dog for you and not tell anyone.
Yeah, it's a really difficult situation with things like that with in this particular sport, because you can actually win a trial and not actually do anything other than be taught how to run a dog in a trial. But that doesn't. There are so many things that are going on with what the dog is doing, unless they just have a benchmark and saying the dog must do this, must do this, must do this, must do this, win it. If the dog doesn't do any one of those things,
but that's what cheeses us off more, us say old timers who've been in it for a while, that we know people out there teaching and they've never trained a dog. They've bought in a fully trained dog. They've ran it in the championship because it had one leg up, or they've won a trial with it and now they're teaching. And guess what? They never sorted out problem dogs in their life, John. The only way that I become good at sorting out problem dogs is because of the environment that I've come from. It's helped me better by being nobbled and me standing up and saying, I'm not interested in playing your silly game. If you play by those rules, I'll go and train dogs. I enjoy training dogs. So I took on people's problem dogs to earn a living, to pay the mortgage. And it taught me far more than hanging around, wearing a cravat, trying to think that I'm an elitist because I win trials. It's made me a better trainer than some of these trial people. I'm not saying I'm better than everybody. What I'm saying is I have a wider knowledge and understanding because I've probably seen 3,000 real problem dogs and turned them round for people and turned them into nice quality dogs.
Yeah. You see, I mean, I look at my dog now and I'm thinking, is she trained? Is she not? She does everything that, you know, when you're talking about that she's supposed to do, but there's still an element of doubt in my mind. Is she good enough to go into a trial? Am I a good enough trainer to have trained that dog to put it into? Whereas you already know this.
Yeah, but if you came down here and it was a shooting season and we took you out and you said, now assess me, am I ready for trialling? I'd put you through your paces and I'd say to you, yes or no. I'd be totally honest with you.
To be honest with you, Chris, if I came down and you set up a mock trial, if you like, just to be able to tell me that dog's good enough to go into a trial, then I wouldn't need to go into a trial.
Well, there you go. You're right. You're right. Because if I said to you, if I gave you accreditation and said that dog could win a trial, then that's going to give you the buzz and think, wow, that's come from someone who speaks his mind and says it. But guess what? That wouldn't bother you, would it? You would say no. You'd say to me, "No, Chris, no, I didn't ask that question. Could I finish a trial?"
Well, yeah. I mean, we do not a summertime thing, a simulated trial, winter trial, where you've got gun either side, your dog's working in front, and you stood next to me judging it.
No, you don't need a gun either side of you. You just need one person with a gun.
Yeah, but that.
Hang
no
on.
good me going to Mark and saying, "Oh, I want to do a simulated field trial. Come and judge it for me," because he doesn't know what he's looking at. So, but I've got.
No, I'm talking about with me, because what you're saying is,
Yes.
on a trial you've got a gun one side and a gun the other side, and off you go. You don't need that, because what'll happen in a trial, you'll get split up. The one gun's down the other side of the edge. He can't see you, but you've got one gun following you through a little bit of coppice. All you need is someone who knows what they're looking for, and who's going to be totally honest with you. Doesn't matter who you bought the dog from, because we know it's my breeding. But I could say to you, this dog is ready to trial. If you said to me, is it ready to win? I'd say yes, in my opinion. If you handle it the way you've handled it today, you could win a trial with this dog. It's good enough. I know what a good winning dog is, but I also know that just because you enter trials and you finish the day, but you're never in the awards, does that mean you can train a dog to a good standard? No, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't.
No,
it doesn't.
No.
But I mean, I have such respect for you in that area, not in teaching, in terms of gun dogs. Just looking at the dogs that I've seen that you've trained, that your opinion at the end of a simulated trial would carry great weight with me. And if you were to say to me at the end of a simulated trial, you could put that dog in a trial, it might win, it might not, because any dog on any day, he said, but she is good enough to win.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't need to go into a trial.
Well, I could save you money then, couldn't I?
I wouldn't need to go into a trial. I mean, it is a competition aspect, but the guy that I commented on, he was asking, well, I believe he was asking, why do people want a trial? And I gave him the reasons why I want a trial, because there's a line in there which is quite important. I want a trial because I want a judge to tell me that my dog is good enough, that my dog is trained enough. Do you know what I mean? So
I've been running dogs before in trials.
Yeah.
As I'm still running the dog and it's hunting like a demon, the judge is talking to me and going, "What is that bred out of? Did you breed that dog? Did you breed that dog?" And I'm thinking, shut the fuck up and watch the dog.
Yeah.
You can ask me those questions afterwards. I'm too busy. I'm working the dog, John.
Yeah.
I don't want that judge at the end of the day to say to me, "That's a quality dog." I want to show him it's a quality dog.
Yeah. But the point is that you now know what a quality dog is. I don't.
Hang on.
I've not.
You do know what a quality dog is, because you've been down here, you've struggled on a retrieve, and I've sent Wiz, and you thought, fuck, he made it look easy.
Yeah.
And Wiz is only a mid-pace dog. Imagine you'd seen one of my iDrive dogs.
Yeah.
But the average person can't hold those sort of dogs, so I've softened my lines to help people have a dog that's biddable and more trainable.
Yeah, I mean, it comes down to the initial training. I remember my first words were...
Let's talk about your bitch. Is she soft?
Yes.
Has she got lots of drive?
Oh, yes.
So why have I produced a dog that's got a soft nature but got plenty of drive?
For biddability.
For trainability. Trainability, John. So imagine I'd sent you a gladiator. Imagine I'd gone, "Here, John, have this pup from me, because you want to go trialing, have this one." Guess what? You could have been saying, "Chris, I'm not going trialing, because this dog don't friggin' listen to me on the shoot." What you've got is a biddable bitch that's got a nice soft temperament, but she's got a determined streak as well.
Yes.
What else do you want? What else do you want in the dog training world?
Nothing. I had to buy the Century.
Would you buy another one?
Yeah.
And especially the frigging price you paid.
That's why I said I had the deal of the Century. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but you helped me out, didn't you? You did a load of electric stuff for me. You helped me out big time, didn't you?
Yeah, but my opinion is that you've helped me more than I've helped you. That's my opinion. You might look at it from the other side.
My opinion is I've got more grey hairs and I'm losing my hair because of you.
Yeah.
But we've had a laugh. And that's what it's about as well, isn't it? It's about...
People don't realise, people have watched the videos and seen, sometimes you can be extremely confrontational, but people don't people look at that and say, "Oh, I know Chris Upton. He's a fucking idiot." Do you know what I mean? But
Do they?
don't,
Do they, John? Who says that?
no, I'm not, yeah, probably one or two wouldn't put you on their Christmas card list.
Have you heard these people saying this about me?
No. I've heard you tell me that you wouldn't be on their Christmas card list.
What would you say to them, John, if someone said to you, "What the?"
I would say they don't know you.
There you go, then, eh? There you go.
What those people need to do is get away from the field and the gun dogs and the guns and this, that, and the other. Go and spend 2.5 hours with Chris and Sue Upton, sat in the boot, having a roast beef dinner, discussing shit that goes on in life. Then they can say, "Oh, I don't like him." But until then, they can't say that. They don't know you. They don't know what you stand for. They don't know how you train. They see one little video and think, "Oh, dog beater. That's how he trains dogs, dog beater."
So do you think then, John? Sorry to interrupt. Do you think that they see smoke and mirrors? That I give them an illusion on the videos of who I'm not, or do you think what they see is what they get?
I think people make up their own mind when they watch your videos, but they're shaded by what they've read in the past or what they've seen in the past, and people, like I say, people don't know you actually. Yes, you're confrontational. I put it down as being passionate. You're giving me personally, you're giving me information that you've gained over 30 years. I'm paying very little for it, but a bit of labour here and there, blah blah blah, this, that, and the other. It's obvious that if you're telling me something and I'm not listening, I don't know of any walk of life where if somebody's trying to teach you something and you're just not listening, where they don't get irate. But that's because they're passionate about what they do. You want to pass on the information and knowledge that you've got into me.
But listen, this is important, and you haven't sussed this yet.
Okay.
I like you, and so I put some commitment in with you. But I guarantee I've had other people that I've not particularly liked, and I've switched off when they have shown me they're not really listening.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that I've turning them over. I just think you're not worth putting the effort in from me. If you think you know better, you carry on. But with you, there's something that I think is you're a lovely guy, and I've reached out to you because of the you travel a long way to come down here. I don't want you going back and not achieving something. So I've always pushed you a little bit more than I push other people.
Yeah, but
I've not broke you, John. I've not broke you. You're still on the phone.
No, it's no.
I bet you lay in the hospital with that COVID and went, "Fuck, this is nothing compared to Upton."
Yeah. I mean, there are times when it's a 5-hour, trip. There are times I've come down. I've always been excited to come down. I'm going down. Yeah, we're going to blah blah blah. This, that, and the other. We're going to do what we're going to do. But I always know when I'm coming down, I'm going to get from you what you want me to have.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get that.
Yeah.
I may not get that on the day.
Yeah.
I may not get that for a week.
Yeah.
But I'll look back at that video and I'll look back and I'll watch it and watch it and watch it and watch it. Well, I can see every little tiny little detail.
But you're no different than Fireman Sam. Not in your characters. You're different characters. You're different the way you train. But what I'm saying is, he was very confrontational. You're not as confrontational. And yet we've got a lad now called Sean, and he'll listen to this and he'll chuckle because I've done to Sean exactly what I've done to you, because he needed prodding with a stick, but he doesn't need beating, right? No. Right? And so it's the same with you.
I know, but I mean, I don't know how much experience Sean's got, but the experience in terms of training with you, there are times when I've come back and and for 5 hours thought, what the fucking hell is he talking about? Little things that tend to stick in my mind when you want something that is important to stick and it's not going in there, then you say, listen to what I've got to say, this is what it is, and if you don't believe me, watch the video. Well, if I was on solid ground, I would be confrontational too. There's a difference between being confrontational, knowing what you're talking about, and being confrontational just for confrontational sake. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Mark would be like that, where he would bite back, but yeah, he doesn't really know what he's talking about. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't. If I'm going to enter an argument with somebody, or a discussion or a debate with somebody, I will be prepared. And if I know more than the person that I'm talking to, then I would tell him.
Yeah, but if you're training with me and you know more than I know, you shouldn't be training with me.
Exactly. This is why I listen.
But Mark used to say, I've been to so-and-so, so-and-so. I've been to so-and-so, so-and-so.
Yeah.
I've been to, and they're the best people in the country. And I used to say, well, fuck off back to them. What are you doing here then? People don't like that. But guess what? It's the truth.
It is.
I don't want to waste his money. But guess what? He improved, didn't he? He definitely improved.
Yes.
But whether he'll improve to the level that I could get him, if he's not willing to listen, because people reach a certain stage in their training, and then all of a sudden they think, I know what I'm fucking doing now. I don't need Chris Upton. And Dennis is a fine example. Dennis had to be not closed out, but Dennis moved off with the trial world because Dennis thought the trial world knew more than Chris Upton. Guess what? Is Dennis winning trials? I hope he does.
Yeah. I mean, I never really clicked with Dennis. I mean, I came down. The thing is, when you watch videos and you come down, you know everybody. I bet people come to you and think, well, they know you because they've seen you on the video.
Yeah.
But I never really clicked with Dennis. I mean, it was...
I clicked with Dennis, but I had to treat Dennis completely different than I treated you. And I had to treat Mark, exactly, Fireman Sam, completely different again. I treat Sean similar to what I've treated you.
Yeah.
I'm not perfect, John. I accept I'm not perfect. But guess what? I do my best. I wear my heart on my sleeve. What you get is what you see. And if I see that you can't take it and you fall to pieces and you're down the pub and you go quiet on me, I know I've put too much pressure on you. The same as the dog, right? But you've never stopped yapping. You're always fun to be with. And you've never thrown your toys out the pram. You've gone quiet once or twice and I thought, back off at that point. And then put pressure on him again in another few hours. And then you start to see the picture. So the skill, the real skill is not dog training, because dog training is simple. It's training people, John.
Yeah.
Training people.
Yeah, exactly right. Exactly right. And that's what you've done with me. You've given me the tools.
Yeah.
To be able to train my dog.
But I've not knocked your confidence because you've still got your own ideas. I don't want to turn you into a clone of Chris Upton. I want to guide you in the direction you want to go.
Yeah.
That's the important thing.
That's it. I mean, going back to the Dennis thing, I was down with you. My bits would be about 10 months old, something like that. And his dog, I think it was Major he got with him. Mm. And it was the tennis ball off the tennis racket.
Yeah.
And his dog was going for the retrieve.
Mm.
My dog, the fault was not with the dog, was with me, because she wasn't on a lead.
Yeah.
She ran in.
Mm.
And Dennis looked at me and said, haven't you been watching the fucking videos?
Mm.
And I said, well, I have. I said, I haven't been taking a lot of notice of them, though, because the last time I was down here when I bought the pup, I was told by a reputed gun dog trainer to build drive.
Yeah. Yeah.
To build drive. Doesn't matter if the dog is wild at 10 months old.
Yeah.
We can pull that in.
But what you got to understand, John, is Dennis came here with a bullshit attitude because he hangs around with trialing people and tests people, that he had achieved an award in the gun dog world, the gun dog club. He got an award. I said, I don't give a shit what you've got. Your dog is useless. You haven't got a clue. And whoever you're training with haven't got a clue. I could have lost him that day. But guess what? I showed him a little bit of magic and he thought, shit, this guy needs to be listened to. And you got to give Dennis credit where credit is due. He put his head down and he literally listened and learnt. He went away because of his army background and followed it to a T.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean he can train another dog. That means that when he had his other dog that was different, he had to come back for more, because that dog was different and needed treating different. And he was trying to treat it in that same format as the first dog, and it wasn't.
Yeah.
The first dog's not the same as the first dog. So there's a fine example of just because you train one dog to a good standard, and that Major was of a good standard, he got it to a good standard that most people will be over the moon with. But what happened, he then wanted to run with the trial gang, because the trial gang, and my name is shit in the trial world down here, and Dennis lives down here, and the reason my name is shit is because I'm dangerous to them all, and they are shit scared that people would all come to me and they'd have no business at all. So you haven't seen that because you live up country, but in this area here, the trial world hate me because I'm giving out videos for free, I'm giving out knowledge for free, and I'm making them look as poor as they really are. Does that make me look popular? No, it doesn't. Not in this area, because it shows the standard of their training at these clubs down here. You can be taking a class, but if you've got no skill, guess who's taking those classes now? People like Dennis.
Yeah.
Right? Why? Because he wants to get in with the trial world. I don't blame him. If that's his dream, I say good luck to him. I'm not rubbishing him behind his back.
Yeah, but it comes down to, I don't want to enter a trial and win a trial and make a dog up and this, that and the other just because I've sucked the dick of the judge. Do you know what I mean? I want...
This was such a sensible conversation until you started. Now, how the hell can I put this up on the internet for everyone to learn from? That you're now suggesting that people have to suck dicks of judges before they'll get a win.
All you got to do is beep out the suck.
So are we talking about spitting or swallowing here?
No, we're not going down that route.
Thank Christ for that. But let's get back on track.
Yes, well, I mean, I would if it was a...
You know what you sound like now? Earthbound pheasant.
Good old earthbound peasant. But do you know what? I wrote that down and I thought, I've been a bit hard here because all I know of this guy is the comments that he's put up. So I went and watched a video that he'd done of a pup that was 15 weeks old. I don't know whether you've seen it.
No.
15 weeks old, and the first, lovely looking dog, the first thing you see him do is hand in the air, sit. This is exactly what I was saying, that he's suppressing the dog from the very, very first day. So he's not allowing the dog, and he's afraid that he won't be able to control his dog if he lets it go, lets it have its head.
So let me ask you a question that's really important then, because that's a good thing you just said. If the way I taught you to train your dog by letting it run in, get lots of drive, get lots of desire, do you think that's the best thing you've ever heard?
Yeah.
Why?
Because it doesn't hold the dog back. I see the dog the way the dog is. She's always been pacey, not particularly hard hunting, as you know, but she's always been that way, and I've never detracted from that. I've never tried to stop that.
So she's not hard hunting?
You know what I mean. If there's game, she'll face any cover. If there's game in there. So
I haven't bred the right dog then, John. Technically,
no.
It won't unless there's game there. You're telling me more and more now. I'm beginning to worry about this trialing shit for you.
No, you don't need to worry. This is down to.
So let me ask you a question, because the question I ask is, because you've allowed the dog to run in, do you think you've got a good steady dog now?
Yes.
Why have you got a good steady dog, John? This is important because someone's just sent me a video and we're talking about it in Corleone Talk. And the video was the dog, he had to keep pushing the dog's backside down to make it sit. And it's not sitting and it's 2 years old. And what happens when you blow that stop whistle? That dog should hit the deck as if it's had a bullet up its arse, right? But it doesn't mean you beat it. But when you come down, did you have to be firm on the dog to teach it to sit?
No.
No, there you go then.
Not at all.
There you go then.
Not at all. Because I trained where, or my thoughts were, the dog wants something from me, which I'm prepared to give it.
Yeah.
If it does what I ask it to do.
There you go.
But in terms of the sit, when she was very young, she might have been 20 weeks old, something like that, and I'm throwing the tennis ball out, and she's going out chasing it, she's bringing it back. She automatically, when I got the ball in my hand and stood up over her, she automatically sat.
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't have to didn't say sit, didn't blow the stop whistle, didn't do anything. She sat, and I used that. As soon as her ass hit the deck, sit, get out. And then she got a retrieve. She got what she wanted straight away. So the sit and the stop whistle, I'm talking about the stop whistle, not under temptation, sort of came, she sort of almost did it herself, really.
Okay, so I'm with you now. Listen, because that's exactly what I was waiting for you to say, not under temptation. Now, the day you put her under temptation, did you have to come down firmer on her on the sit?
Yes.
There you go. And did she accept it?
Yes.
Why did she accept it? Because you'd already taught the behaviour, John.
Yes.
You taught it. She's been self-taught. You sit, you'll get something. You sit, you'll get something. Then when you come down heavy on the dog doesn't go into sulk mode. I'm scared to freaking move. It learns the lesson, short and sharp and sweet, and then you get a far better dog for it. And yet you've allowed the dog to run in and run in and run in for months. How old was the dog when you put the stop on the dog, John?
15 months.
There you go. And there's everyone going, I mean, we've had a lovely chat recently with a guy called Dave Cowlin, and he said, you know, your way of training, Chris, is a lot harder than everybody else's because you sometimes allow a dog to go 10 months, 12 months, 15 months. The average person is not going to wait for that. But guess what? Each dog's different. Some dogs you put the stop on them at 8 months, some dogs you put them on at 12 months. And it all depends on the drive and desire of the hunting when you tap into it. But if you tap into that first, your dog would have been a nightmare if you tapped into that first.
Yeah. I mean, she's a wonderful little dog. She really is.
That's what's more important than anything to me. Do you love your little dog?
Oh, yeah.
So if I offered you $3,000 for your dog, would you take it?
No chance. No. You could offer me anything you like, and I wouldn't get rid of that dog.
Isn't that lovely?
Do you know what I mean? It's just...
You snowflake.
There's something that's fundamental to training, which you taught me years ago now. There needs to be a bond between the handler and the dog. And you see it, the second it happens, you see it. And there's just that bond. Do you know what I mean? She'll get off and do her business. I blow the stop whistle. She hits the ground and looks at me. Right, what do you want me to do now?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sometimes she'll pull me a little bit.
Yeah.
Pip on the whistle, and I struggled with this. And the last time I came down, you sort of said, I'm getting out of breath a bit here, but the last time I came down, you said, right, if you want this fixed quickly, put an e-collar on her, and let's do it with an e-collar. And I tell you what, anybody that says that that's cruel or it doesn't work just doesn't know.
No, exactly.
Just doesn't know, because it's not that it works, it's how quick it works.
Yeah.
And it turns out that I take the collar off and that lesson is still there, which says to me is she never had that in the first place. She didn't know what she was doing in the first place. My training had failed her in the first place. I'm expecting her to do something which I hadn't taught to her properly. With the e-collar, it was very, very simple.
Right, John, so let me just say then, at this moment, because you're not in Patreon, I've actually written something after a comment of someone said. Now, I'll just go quickly through this. 10-month-old dog from a solicitor, lovely, lovely guy, brings it up here because it's biting the children, it's dominant, it has to stay on a long line all the time, it's taken over. I said, right, okay, because of the lockdown, you're going to have to just put it in a kennel, and I'm going to have to work on it raw, as in not even seeing it. But as he came here, I said, look, not being funny, can you go in the field with the dog and I'll stand back and just give us a demo so you can see what it's really like? And he was brilliant. He says yes. And that's really important because it showed everyone what the dog was like. So we've had 5 videos put up in a week. This video is number 3 video, and this is a comment by a guy on here, on Patreon. I won't say his name. That has to be the best educational gun dog video any of us have ever seen. And I've watched it a few times now. Genius, I thank you. And do you know what I said to him? There's a fine line between arrogance and confidence, John. I said, like I said, and then his name was Mark, but I won't give his surname away.
No.
When I first started Patreon, hang on, like I said, Mark, when I first started Patreon, if you enjoyed my videos on YouTube, I will blow your mind away with what I show you if you support me. And that's my gift to you for supporting me. So these people are paying me now for my knowledge. I used to put videos up on YouTube. What made you come to me, John? Was it the videos on YouTube, or was it the fact you just picked up the phone and went, where can I find the best dog trainer I can work with? How did you find me, John?
Right. Okay. Well, obviously, as you know, that I had a session with a gun dog trainer before that.
Yeah.
Then I obviously said, well, okay, I'm not going to get on with this guy, even though his reputation preceded him. You know, he's
you know,
I'm talking about. He's a good dogman, as his dad was, and probably his grandfather.
Yeah.
But I then went onto the internet and went gun dog trainer.
Yeah.
Now, normally I would go on when I'm doing a Google search. I would put gun dog trainer, Shropshire. Then that would any websites would come up then.
Yeah.
But I put gun dog trainer in, and you know, as you type in Google, it starts to format a list for you.
Yeah.
On top of the list was, I think it was this guy Beach Dogs.
Right. Okay. Beach Dogs.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry, Chris, it wasn't. It was A Star in the Making.
Right, yeah.
Was the thing.
Yeah.
And I can't remember what the picture looked like. The picture didn't look particularly good.
Yeah.
But it wasn't Corleone Gun Dog's YouTube site. It was some other site. So I clicked on it and had a look at it. And it showed you how you disciplined. I think it was a little bitch this time. Got up and broke. So got up and wandered around. You put her back on the spot and did what you believed to be the right thing to do at the time.
Yeah.
And there was loads of comments after it. And I think, wait a minute. There's a noted gun dog trainer in this county had told me to do exactly not similar.
Yeah.
Exactly what you'd done, word for word, word for word. Using the flat of your hand at the base of the tail.
Yeah.
And this, you know, and giving the command. And I'm thinking that's not particularly cruel. So then I wanted to know more. And so I then went to Corleone Gun Dogs or Chris Upton, and the first video up then was an RSPCA one. Now I've not had problems with the RSPCA, but I've had dealings with the RSPCA in the past. And this guy was stood there telling you about how to train gun dogs because some dog psychologist with a degree in whatever from West Bubblefuck had said that's not the way you should treat a dog.
Yeah.
And your comments to that was, you need to treat the dog like that because you're putting the dog in extreme pressure situations, sometimes dangerous.
Yeah.
In the point where if the dog's behind a bird or a rabbit or whatever, and you blow the stop whistle, if the dog doesn't stop, it could end up dead because it jump a fence into the road. And I've seen this happen, and a car's hit it and blah, 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 and the rest is history. So then I sort of went and had a look at a few of your videos, this, that, and the other. I wasn't too worried about the training videos. I was more interested, you know, you rant videos when you're walking around the field ranting?
Yeah.
I watched them.
What do you think about them then?
At the time, I'm thinking this guy's got some balls. Do you know what I mean? He's taking on
The establishment.
The Field Trial Society. He's taking on the Kennel Club. He's taking on
the Snowflakes.
Well, no, I didn't know it. And no, there was no mention of Snowflakes. He's taking on the RSPCA. I didn't know at the time, but it was a little bit before where you were having problems with Devon and Cornwall Police with your shotguns.
Yeah.
So I didn't. So when we were down, we were sat on the sofa and we were talking about something. This fucking bloke's got some fucking balls. Taking on the police, the RSPCA, the Kennel Club. you know, anybody that wants to argue with what he's done as being right, he's saying, you know, I'm right. This is the way I train gun dogs. And in fact, this is the way everybody trains gun dogs of any note. They're just not telling you about it.
Yeah.
And I thought, I need to see this bloke. So I rang you up and you said, yeah, come down whenever you want. It's this much. You've got a caravan, blah, 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 this, something else. And I came down. I was quite nervous, actually. But, yeah, and the rest is history. So
but the reason I asked you that question, and I think that's brilliant the way you put it, because it was well around the houses, but it was great the way you put it. But the reason is if I was putting up the stuff I'm putting up on Patreon, you wouldn't need to come down to me because you could sit at home and train your dog for free. But people used to say to me, why are you putting that shitty music over that freaking video? Because I didn't want to give away everything. I just wanted to tickle them and show them the quality of the dogs, the quality of the training. And then they come to me for training because that's how I earned my living. I was giving it away for free. Then I've gone now over to Patreon. I'm giving people stuff that they just could not believe. It's so simple. The format of training a dog is so simple. Yeah. I break it down so a child of 9 could train the dog.
That's it.
And that's how dogs understand. All this complicated shit about the 4 quadrants and you've got the science says this and the science says that and you're not allowed to punish a dog after 1.5 seconds and all this shit. It's a myth. It's a bullshit. It's feeding an ideology that's false. My training is so down to earth, basic, and yet deeply complicated if you really want to master it. But if you follow the movements and you follow the timing and you follow what I show you, you'll produce a dog of a good standard. Where you've learnt more is by getting in your car and making the effort to get your arse down here and learn. Yeah. That's where you pick your knowledge up.
I think, I mean, it's difficult to say now, but I think that I've learned a lot more with seeing you face to face and talk, because people don't realise when they come to see you that they think, I mean, the majority might be, you know, it's an hour in the field and that's it. Thank you. Let's have me money and away you go. See you next time, blah, blah, blah. And it isn't like that. It isn't like that. I mean, I paid my money and we went out for a meal at the boot. We had a whole day's training on the Saturday. We had a couple of hours on the Sunday. We went on Sunday lunch at the boot. We came back and we did a little bit more with the dogs. And then we went out for evening meal somewhere. And I'm thinking, this guy's going well above and beyond. But while we're having a dinner or a tea or whatever, we're talking about my dog.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when I come down and pay you...
John, don't give too much away because everyone will want your service.
Yeah. Well, when I came down and paid you for whatever, how many hours it was, I don't even remember now. What I do remember is sitting in the pub and saying, I'm getting this for nothing. Because he's already done what I paid him to do. That's already been done. And now I'm getting insight. But what I will, when I come down, next time I come down, what I'm looking to get from you is what happens on a field trial.
Yeah, but you're going to have to bring down a bottle of whiskey for that, though.
Well, yeah. It won't be very expensive, though.
You bought me a lovely bottle.
Yeah, but it wasn't as nice as that bottle of port. Sorry, Sue. But you know what? I think Sue she had one glass at that bottle, and it wasn't a particularly big glass because you.
And then you had the shakes the next day.
I didn't though. I didn't. I was right on top of my game. But it was lovely. I can't find it now. Do you know? You don't have to know what the name of it was.
Taylor's Port.
No, it wasn't Taylor's.
Cockburn's Port.
No, it wasn't one. It wasn't one of those.
I can't remember. We've gone through enough bottles since then.
Oh, it was. I tell you what, it's good shit.
I tell you what, John. We've been on the phone for an hour and a half, and time flies, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But this, for other people to listen to, is a learning curve in itself, and I thank you for that because
no problem.
You're such a straight talker. You say what you feel, but we have a laugh. And people can get the idea of what you're saying, and I thank you for that because I'll stick it up on the group, and and let people make their own mind up, because I could put this up on YouTube and this would open people's minds, because it's like a sit down. It's like a podcast. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Two guys talking. A guy who's been here. He's wanting to go to the next level. And I thank you for your honesty, and I thank you for the way you
no problem.
you put yourself across, mate. That's wonderful. But it's a shame you're not on Patreon. You tight bastard.
Yeah.
No.
Do you know what? You've never asked me why.
I don't need to. I'm not worried about it.
Yeah, but I mean,
Go on, crack on. Tell everyone.
It's not that I'm too tight to pay the £20, because
It's not £20, you cheeky sod. It's for tier 1 is £6 a month. It's less than it's £6 a month.
Yeah.
A month.
But,
A month.
but I like to get my information in your conservatory. Do you know what I mean?
No.
Or
No, I don't
on
know
the
what you mean.
backfield, or
No, I don't know what you
or
mean.
up on the moors.
No, I don't know what you mean. I think you're running around with blinkers on, because if you joined the Patreon £6 a month, and I'm not trying to force you. I'm not saying you need to join the £20. I just turn you into a winner, and not just to turn up at the freaking trial and run it. But what I'm saying is, we have a group of people now that are so like-minded like you, and that's what we need in this country. We need a revolution in the dog training world, because that's exactly what I've just said on that feed. I was just telling you, and that's the funny thing about it. I was saying to you, there's a very fine line between arrogance and confidence. But what I said to that guy, and he's so nice, he said, that's the best educational video of any of us have seen. And I've watched this a few times now. Genius, thank you. I said, like I said, Mark, when I first started Patreon, if you enjoyed my videos on YouTube, I will blow your mind with what I will show you for supporting me in Patreon. People supporting me, this is my gift to you. I don't want to start a movement. I want to start a revolution.
Well, that's it.
Because I want people up and down the country that I can pick up the phone with and say, listen, contact this bloke. He lives in Shropshire. He knows what he's talking about, because he's followed the Corleone way.
Yep.
And that's what I'm doing now. I'm building an army. I'm building foot soldiers who can go out there and help people the Corleone way. Because why? Because they've been following me for 5-6 years. They've watched my videos. They've got their dogs to good standards. And if you were on Patreon, you would see the standard and think, my dog's that standard. That means I'm ready to trial. My dog's that standard. I'm ready to do this. But you haven't got that reference, because you're either looking around the internet for perfection. You mentioned a Gundog page to me the other day. Mark mentioned it to you, and you said about it. To be honest with you, I've just watched a few more of those videos, and I don't want you to name them because of this. Some of their shooting is dangerous. They are obsessed with shooting rather than just the dog work.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, that is not a good thing to be putting out there on the internet, that you fire into cover like that, into woods like that.
Yeah.
You're okay if you know what you're doing and you're in a safe environment, but that can be misleading to people. And if people are pulling the triggers and watching that. But it's not a gun dog training site. It's a look at me shooting. These are trial dogs. These are this standard. I've already said the standard of their dog training is good, but unfortunately, I wouldn't endorse the actual site for one reason. I've watched their shooting and I wasn't particularly impressed. Shooting through trees like they were, dropping birds at 10, 15 foot and all this crap. That's trialing again for you. That's what trialing's done. It's taking it away from being sporting, if you know what I mean, John.
Yeah. I mean, I looked at. I mean, Mark said, "Have a look at this."
Don't mention the group, because I don't want to.
No. So I did. So I had a look. He's a mate. He said, "Have a look at this. If you want your dog to trial, have a look at this." And I watched the first video, and I thought, those dogs aren't doing anything that my dog doesn't do.
Well done. Well done.
It's honest.
No, I mean it. I mean it. Well done.
Yeah. They're not doing anything. Do you know what I mean? That my dog doesn't do. But I tell you what the difference is.
They got the facility.
Look at the fucking ground they're on.
Yeah.
Look at the fucking ground they're on. There's
And
birds of game. There's rabbits. There's pheasants. any dog would be good eventually.
Yeah, and the problem is, John, not everyone's got that.
No,
That's the whole point of the way I train.
no. I mean, fortunately, I've managed to negotiate because the season finished early.
Yeah.
I've managed to negotiate being able to go and do some walk-up shooting most of next week.
Lovely. Good for you.
It's not very often I get to shoot over the top of my dog.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you so much more.
Yeah, because I do know that you were talking about the 10-foot brambles and this, that, and the other. I do know if I've got to climb over a tree or go under a fence or something like that.
Yeah.
That's when I lose my dog.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's when you'll know, when you're in that situation under pressure.
Yeah.
But don't forget, I've had you down here sweating like a rapist, and I'm a bit concerned that would you be able to cope with the pressure standing in line, waiting to go in there? If you felt nervous walking in my gate the first time you met me, what are you going to be like on a lead with a dog in a trial? That's gonna be a new experience for you.
There's no doubt in my mind I am going to be shitting myself.
That's going to be like that strip club I took you to when Sue was working. I bet Millie's whacking you on the head. What strip club? We're already joking.
But it's like that with every sport I've played. I mean, local club level, I go out to bat or whatever it is I do. I'm a little bit nervous. 2 minutes in and I'm fine. This, that, and the other. But then there are games where I played bigger games against professional cricketers where but there is no way on God's earth, just because I've got a little bit of tingling in my stomach, that's going to stop me from performing the best that I can do against the best of the best.
Good.
Do you know what I mean? So,
Good.
I mean, my ideal situation is Openshaw, Cluley and me in a runoff in Cornwall and Devon with Eusford in the wings. That's my ideal situation.
Well, it all depends who's judging.
Well, it doesn't matter, because if I'm going to enter a trial, it'll be Devon and Cornwall.
Why? Why would you come all the way down here?
Because I've got to call your own bitch.
That doesn't make a difference.
Of course it does. It makes a hell of a difference. To me, it does.
Listen, John. Listen. Now you're talking out your arse. And I'll tell you why you're talking out your arse. If you turned up a trial down here with a call your own bitch,
you've got no chance.
You've got no chance.
Yeah, but I realise that.
Well, don't run down here then. Run up country.
What sort of bollocks have I got to be able to go down and run a trial in Devon and Cornwall based on what the judges down there know of you? Because they will obviously link me to you straight away because of the name of the dog.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. So you don't want to be coming down here, trust me.
It goes back to what I said an hour and a half ago.
He's not worried about winning.
If I run my dog in Devon and Cornwall,
yeah, right, John,
and I perform to the best of my ability,
yeah,
and she performs to the best of her ability,
yeah,
and it gets nowhere, I know that she's done. Do you know what I mean? I know that she's as good as she can get, but I'm not interested in the politics and of the trialing. A lot of people are. A lot of ex-trialers that I speak to all say the same thing. It's bent. We pulled out the trial, Will, because it's bent. My thoughts on that is, you don't pull away from something because you disagree. You fight it.
Oh, you're wasting your time. Trust me.
You fight it, yeah, but
I've been there. I've been there and fought it. You get pushed aside, ostracised for being a troublemaker.
Yeah,
you know, they don't listen to you.
My dad, rest his soul, is identical to you when there's a fight. He is identical. It is unnerving that we're not related in the way that you handle yourself when there's a fight, and it doesn't matter who it is. And he's like a dog with a fucking bone. He was. He's obviously not now. He just keeps going and going and going to the point where I'm saying, Dad, what are you doing? You're going to get nowhere with this. He said, I know I'm going to get nowhere. He said, but the bastards are going to fucking know about it.
Yes, I like your dad.
I tell you what, you would. But having said that, if he believed you were doing something wrong, and he wholeheartedly believed it, or he knew it to be wrong, he'd fucking tell you.
Yeah, that's the way it should be.
He'd tell you. But he wouldn't. I'm not saying that he would be nasty or anything like that. He would say, Chris, you're wrong.
Isn't it sad, John, that honest people suffer in the trial world?
Yes.
That's horrible, isn't it? Really, you think
Yes.
that the majority of people who are not cheats and want to be treated fairly would jump
Yes.
on and support those people who fight for the fact that all I say is I think it should be a level playing field for everybody. It doesn't matter whether you've just started or you've been in the game for 30 years. It should be a level playing field. And all I've ever wanted to do with trialing is clean up their act or give them some advice to clean up their act.
The problem with an organisation like this, any organisation, any big organisation you want to talk about, when corruption starts to become mainstream, there's only one loser, and that's the organisation itself.
Yeah, but they know that. But it's gone past that, isn't it? It's all to do with money. It's all to do with prestige and who you can stand next to at the championship. And when you see, if you know what you're talking about, and you see these people up in the gallery, right up walking close, watching the dogs, they're all the arse lickers that have climbed their way up there through licking, supporting the bent top people in the sport who manipulate the sport to their own benefit. And it's that corrupt. I mean, people hate me for it, and they say you don't do trialing any good. But until trialing sorts its own house out, there's a curse on all their houses.
Yeah.
Because they've created their own shitstorm. But we've now got, we were talking about this the other day, we've now got the media and the platform to talk about it, where before it was hushed up in the Shooting Times, it was hushed up in the magazines, and then every now and again it would raise its ugly head and they would just bury it again. And it would just be like, that's old news. No, it's not.
Yeah.
It's happening all the time. But now people are in groups talking about the corruption in trialing, and there's closed groups now where people are exposing the cheats, and people are beginning to realise who you can run under and who you can't run under. And that's why they're saying we haven't got the entries like we used to have. No, because the media has given us some strength. We've got the power to say it the way it is, and they can't close us down. Why can't they nobble me? Why can't they nobble me? Because I'm out of it. But if I was in it, I'd be nobbled for these comments I'm making now.
Yeah. I mean, this is where my dad, he didn't really win over in the end because he didn't actually get anywhere. But what he would do is he would personally attack the organisation. He would do whatever he got to do and take legal action, whatever it was that he needed to do. But he would also rally round. So he would gather the momentum of like-minded people.
Was he a union rep?
No, he was self-employed.
Yeah,
he was
right.
self-employed.
Mm.
But he took on the big supermarkets.
Yeah, good.
He actually filed legal action against the big supermarkets. It was Tesco's and Sainsbury's, I believe, before supermarkets were mainstream. And he's saying, no, you cannot put your supermarket there. You cannot open a supermarket because if you do, there are thousands of small independent traders, butchers, bakers, all this, that, and the other. He was nothing to do with the food trade, by the way. He realised that all these small self-employed people were all in a big group, and that big group could make a difference. And he took them on. He lost it, and he lost because I want to go and buy a chicken for £2.50. Do you know what I mean? Whereas if I went to a butcher, it cost me £6.50, and that's where the big supermarkets win out. But he was self-employed, and he created self-employed movements, which was a nationwide thing and there was thousands and thousands and thousands of people and letters of support and this, that, and the other, and that's what he did.
We've just lost half our audience because you're talking about supermarkets.
Yeah, but you can edit that.
I didn't want to edit it. I wanted to leave it up in its format. So let's get back to reality show. Yeah. So you're dead lucky. You had a dad that you looked up to, and that was great. My old man is nothing. He's just like Del Boy, right?
Do you know what, his old man, my grandfather, he was a shit dad as well.
Well, my old man was like Del Boy, and what would happen? You're into electronics, aren't you? And that stuff. He would come into the house, and you'd be there, and he'd go, "What do you do for a living?" "I'm into electronics." He'd go, "Oh, you don't know what you're talking about. You don't, because guess what? I was in the TV business, and I designed the first TV made by so and so and all this shit, and and I would just like sink into the background with embarrassment, thinking, Dad, shut up. Shut up. John knows what he's talking about, and you're trying to tell him what you're talking about. You're embarrassing me now. Now,
Yes, but
is that the little man syndrome because he was 4'2"? I don't know. But isn't it terrible when you can't speak nicely about your own dad?
Yeah, it is.
And I hear so many people when they come here, they open up and they tell me so many lovely stories about, I miss my dad terrible. My dad's been my best mate. And I think, aren't you lucky? Aren't you lucky? I just wish I'd had that in life.
Yeah.
But that might make me the person I am, see? And so...
My dad being the way that he was with me might make me the person that I am.
Yeah.
Because he would, if he was offering advice or instruction or whatever it was, and I wasn't listening, he'd say, "Oi, dickhead, are you listening or not? This is fucking important." And I think I go back to that, and I think that got my attention.
But that make you cope with it in life when someone says, "Hey, dickhead, don't be a dickhead."
Yes, because when you say that to me, I know you don't think that I'm a dickhead.
Exactly, thank you. It took me 25 years to teach Sue that.
He didn't think I was a dickhead, but he wanted to grab my attention. And
Yeah,
the way that you grab my attention is, I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, I bite back at him the same as I do at you. But then I go back. I didn't have the video and this, that, and the other. I go back and I think about it, but I would always go back and say, "Yeah, Dad, you're right. Sorry. You know, let's get back on track." Blah blah. This, that, and the other.
John, I think we should end this conversation now because this is getting too deep. I mean, next you'll be lying on my freaking settee, freaking telling me. I've become a psychiatrist. See, I just ease it out of people, don't I? Now you're telling me all this. I think it's brilliant, but let's leave it there, mate. Because I'll tell you what, I think that conversation was fantastic, and we'll have that conversation on next time you're down here. You can come and lie on my couch with a bottle of port and tell me.
As soon as the boot's open.
Yeah.
Again, I'll be down.
Yeah, but we want to get some birds really for you, don't we? That's what we want to do.
Well, but it'd be the wrong time of year.
That's what I'm saying. So probably see you next year after the lockdown.
No. You'll see me. You'll see me before then.
John on Facebook.
Is John on Facebook? Yes, he's on Facebook.
Yeah.
Well, then for £6 a month, he's missing out then.
You're missing out on Corleone Talk as well.
All right.
You'd be great in the group. You'd be great in the group, Sue said.
You'd enjoy it.
All right, I'll go and fucking sign up now.
No, I don't. I'm not forcing you. Hey, John, it's been brilliant chatting to you. Got to go. I'm dying for a piss. I've been sitting here for 2 hours holding myself.
You've badgered me for 2 hours. That's the best sales pitch I've ever come across.
It's been great chatting, and I'm glad you're healthy. Keep smiling, boy. Cheers, boy. Bye-bye. Thanks a lot.